Nancy. And we do have two microphones set up here on, I believe, either side of the room. And I'm sure there are questions. You need things to chew on while you're waiting for your various local foods and local brews to show up as you go downtown here in Burlington. So ask good, hard questions, things you can ponder here in your next venue. Great. Looks like we have a taker. Thank you.
It's not really a question, but it's just so interesting to see the way people develop. So I don't remember when I took a class with John Hayden in fruit production, in organic fruit production, and we came to this farm, but at that time you were vegetable farmers, and he was studying fruit production, and the apple trees had just been planted. They were very tiny, and it's just great to see the development over time of farmers. Thank you.
Should be able to.
Okay. Yeah, one thing I actually didn't mention is that one of the reasons we moved into fruit is because of its high value, organic fruit. There was really kind of a absence of it in Vermont, and there were tons of organic veggie farmers, especially coming up, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so the competition became quite fierce. So I think transitioning to the fruits, which we kind of did while we were still doing the veggie farm, was a great way to move into something that was going to provide, because we're a small operation and we want to stay small, and we're getting old, and so we want to be able to handle what we have. So by transitioning, 10, 15 years ago, out of veggies into something that was more manageable for us and could provide a livelihood was what we were after. So yeah, I didn't really bring that up. It is interesting. Always got to be thinking.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. And we have another question here. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. I enjoyed everybody's talks. I do have a question for Nancy as well. I'm from Connecticut, and one of the hardest things to find is local organic fruit. So the fact that you produce local organic fruit here in the Northeast is kind of amazing to me. And I'm just wondering what kind of obstacles in terms of, because there's things like, the moisture, all the moisture, and all the pests, and how you manage to, and do you transport it to other places in the area, or is it just sold locally?
We do just stay local. We sell at the Burlington Farmers Market, the Intervale Food Hub, and a little bit at City Market too. So yeah, pests are always going to be an issue that you have to deal with. So for example, like strawberries, one of the pests are tarnished plant bug. They just damage the fruit, but they don't necessarily aren't a big problem. Those kinds of things now we can use in our fruit syrups. So we do the steam juicing thing for our fruit syrup, so you can take some of the blemished or slightly damaged fruit and still add value to it, and then the stuff that looks good we can sell at the market. So I think having some of those kinds of alternative types of products that you can produce makes it economically feasible. If you're just trying to sell all your good fruit, then it becomes, you've got a lot of wasted stuff. The other thing is we're strictly no spray. I mean, organic means there's organic sprays out there, which some of those we think are really questionable to pollinators. So we don't use even, and it's made by Dow, and it's called Entrust, and all of a sudden you've got to, that's like raising a red flag. So, we don't use anything. So it does make, sort of some management issues, but I think having this alternative product, whether it be jams or fruit syrups or whatever somebody could do, I think can make it much more economically feasible. So I'm hoping more people will do it, because I agree there's definitely a shortage in local organic fruit in, I would gas, yeah, the Northeast, because it's definitely the problem in Vermont, yeah.
Keep at it.
Great. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I have a question about the seed banks. With the different approaches to curating, storing, conserving seeds, to what extent do the different approaches take into consideration the taste of the product?
The taste of the product, I think takes place at a couple of levels. One is that the phrase, the language of seed banks and seed libraries gets used in all kinds of different ways, and gene banks as well. When you're talking about the regional, local community seed banks, then I think taste and usage as well comes in strongly, because people will save the seeds of the kind of food and crop varieties that they think do well, and I think taste is going to be an important one. When we're talking about centralized seed banks, there are probably, there may be plant breeders here that would be able to answer this better than me, but I have not seen much significance placed on taste. It's really on other aspects of it, its production, its yield, its transportability, et cetera, its resistance. Those things are much more important economically for plant breeding than taste. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't see taste coming up at all in terms of centralized seed banks, gene banks, but I do hear people talk about it at the local level.
Super. Thank you very much. I think we'll go to this side next.
Hi. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and knowledge. I hate to do this, but I'd like to take the opportunity to ask a panel sort of a curveball question. And that is, given our nature in which we need to consume and excrete, I'd like maybe if one of you or a couple of you could take a crack at what sustainability is, or how humans can be sustainable.
Great.
We need a whole nother hour for that one.
Sustainability, in your opinion, if it's a commitment or an actual, if you could take a shot at a definition.
I guess I'll take the first crack, and if others want to jump in, they're welcome to. I'm not sure how popular what I'm about to say is going to be, but I think of sustainability as pretty much being a buzzword, and I'm not so sure how relevant it is in any kind of broader sense. My thinking has moved away from sustainability and through resilience, and I think a lot more right now about adaptability. And so, and I'm not sure I can answer your question in the context of adaptability even, but yeah, I'm not so heavily focused on sustainability anymore.
I want to give a two-part answer. First, sustainability in ecological terms is leaving things in a way that is better for those who come after us, or at least as good for those who come after us as it is for us. However, I am going to agree with Eric in the sense that this word has assumed all kinds of connotations. And in fact, when it comes to campus sustainability, I wrote an article up saying, I don't think we're talking about campus sustainability in any kind of legitimate, useful way. It's become a marketing tool. And I don't think it's useful anymore. And so I also, even though I did use the word sustainability in my presentation, I tend to avoid sustainability as the core of what I'm concerned about. I think resilience is also headed in that same direction. I mean, I'm really, frankly, I'm hearing resilience again and again and again. But the bottom line is that we're talking about a long-term vision. I mean, Svalbard's talking 10,000 years. They're talking about sustainability in that sense as well.
I would agree that it's been usurped, but I also think that sort of the original intent idea of it was really a mindset, sustainability in terms of maybe at the individual level. Once corporations and universities talking about sustainability, I think that's when it gets corrupted. But sort of at an individual level, I think a lot of people can, try to, make the effort, the things that they do that are important to them in terms of ecological mindset and growing your own food and, using a composting toilet or whatever. But I mean, I think there's a lot of things that individuals can do. So I don't want to totally just throw out the idea of it because it's been corrupted.
To be the last one to chime in, I think a lot of why I struggle with defining that personally is because what are we trying to sustain? What is it that we want to make sustainable, and what does that look like? I don't know, I think, but it's a good question to always be asking.
Thank you.
Great. I think we're at the point where we'll have to remain a little bit stumped, and hopefully some of the questions can go forward here in the rest of the evening, and I'll leave you with a biophysical constraint riddle that I was sharing with my kids the other day, and you can ponder it a little bit. So what do you do if you're in a room and there are 4 walls, no windows, a ceiling, a hard floor, and the only thing that's in there is a board and a mirror? Well, what you do is you take the board, you put it in front of the mirror, you see what you saw what you see, you put the 2 halves of the board together, and then you have a hole and you crawl out the hole. So hope you can find your way out of some of these solutions as we move forward, and I hope you have a great evening in Burlington. I hope you'll join me in giving a round of applause to our panelists. They did a fantastic job. So.